The Last Line is a completely free podcast, but takes a lot of time, effort, and hard work to make happen. So if you'd like to support the show, then please head over to patreon.com/The Last Line. Thank you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good whatever time you're listening to this podcast. My name is James Alban, and you are listening to episode 21 of The Last Line. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you're all well and okay, surviving this whole chaotic time we're living in, coping with lockdown wherever you are, self-isolation. I thought it would be a good idea, while we're all stuck at home, to chat to an old friend of the podcast, Mr. Tom Williams, who is also currently in self-isolating in Hastings. So we talked earlier over Zoom, which I'd never used before. It's like a fancier Skype. I think it's for professionals and all that. But we talked over Zoom earlier, had a good old chat, and that is what you're going to be hearing now. It's mostly unedited, to be perfectly honest. You will hear us attempt to sync our audios, as Tom was recording his audio at his end, I was recording my audio at my end. I was also recording a backup of the overall conversation, which I do have to cut to a couple of times on Tom's audio because his mic stopped recording a couple of times. So you will hear at points a changing in Tom's audio quality, but it's still very much listenable, and just focus on Tom's lovely dulcet tones, and you won't have to think about the audio quality change. What can we do? I'm self-isolating. We're all self-isolating. So, what can you do? Stuff like that happens when you're recording remotely. Tom, every day. So Tom, singer-songwriter, obviously, as you will already know if you've listened to this podcast. He's been doing a daily video update called Morning Coffee. I'd recommend you go and watch it on his YouTube page. I think you can also find it on his Facebook and Instagram pages as well. It's worth a watch. It's a nice little sort of relaxing break from everything that's going on. He calls it positive waffle, and it's very much that. It's a nice little bit of positive waffle to sort of perk up your day a little bit. So yeah, without further ado, here is Tom Williams.
Okay, should we count ourselves in?
This isn't going to work, is it?
So we're going to go 3, 2, 1, clap.
Right.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, clap. Oh, there's a delay anyway, isn't there?
There's a delay anyway, yeah. It's fine. I'll figure it out.
Okay, cool.
It won't be as bad as last time when I
came all the way down,
recorded the podcast, and didn't record my microphone.
I still think it's amazing that you redid all your audio.
There was a bit of acting involved because I had to sort of pretend I was just like in the conversation as I was normally.
Having to do all the, oh yes, absolutely.
yeah. But at least it wasn't your mic that was lost, because that would be embarrassing.
I would have liked to hear you do an impression of me to get through it somehow.
Yeah, having to tell you that, I didn't record. Can we do it all again?
Can we try and reenact the Ed Sheeran rant again?
Yeah, which we won't do again.
Nope.
How are you anyway?
I'm all right. I'm just going a bit crazy. I don't know why. I mean, to be honest, one of my favourite things to do is to stay at home. But now, because I'm being told to stay at home, it's freaking me out. Well, are we going to try our best not to talk about the virus, or can we talk about the virus?
I think we can.
It moves so fast, though. It's difficult to not be outdated by the time it comes out. Are you in isolation? How long have you been in isolation?
I'm not technically in isolation because I guess we all are now, aren't we?
Yes, should be.
Sort of. But I haven't really. Well, I haven't done anything. I haven't really gone out since like Friday. I've gone out to the shops.
But that's just your lifestyle, isn't it? That's nothing to do with.
Yeah.
That's just because you hate people.
Yeah, that's true. But again, it's weird. Even though last night was the first time they said but then they sort of always saying you really shouldn't go out, weren't they? I nearly went out to Richmond Park on Sunday, and I'm glad I didn't, because I'm glad I wasn't amongst all those other people that were doing the same thing. I don't want to be the guy on Twitter that's in a photo of loads of other people.
Yeah, chest bumping all your friends.
Yeah, hugging. Yeah. So
it's funny down here. I mean, we've both been in isolation now for best part of 2 weeks, because about 10 days ago we got colds, and so we couldn't. At that point, the advice was you can't go into work if you're showing symptoms.
Yeah.
And we didn't go out for about a week, and then after a week I just thought, well, I can go running, can't I? As long as I don't touch anything or touch my face and disinfect everything behind me and in front of me. Because we've got an elderly lady downstairs, so I'm terrified. Right. I'm gonna kill her. But it's funny because on the seafront there's a 1.5 meter wide cycle lane, and then there's a 1.5 meter footpath, which is fine if you've got one person running one way and one person running the other way. But as soon as a third person comes into the equation, someone ends up launching themselves into the bush or sort of off the seafront onto the beach. Half the people seem to be making an effort and half the people don't.
Yeah, I feel like. Well, I mean,
London is not doing well at the moment.
No, London's not doing great. I saw the tubes were packed again this morning. Yeah. And looking outside, I mean, I haven't been outside today, but looking outside, it's like people are just walking around still as normal. Yeah.
I think people think that the fresh air, for some reason, sort of makes it better.
Yeah. It makes it all right. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's all a bit strange, isn't it?
What are your plans then for your 2 or 3 weeks in the flat? What are you going to do?
Well, today it's been mostly listening to Donald Glover's new album.
Yeah, I haven't listened to that yet.
It's good.
Is it?
It's good. Yeah. You didn't catch the live stream when he streamed it?
I did. I had the website on for about half an hour, but then I found out that the album was much, much longer than that.
Oh, really?
Or was it not that much longer than that?
It feels...
It's about 20 songs, isn't it?
No, it's like 10, like 12.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seemed to me basically what he streamed, I think.
Yeah.
But
so do you think
I can't remember how much I listened to the stream.
Do you think this is a good time to release an album?
Well, that's a good question, isn't it? It certainly perked my day up. It's a good time, in as much as like it's a good lifter for everybody, I suppose. Whether it's good for him commercially or not, I don't know. But then I suppose, what else are people doing?
I think it comes down to the fact whether or not you have your audience tends to live online, or whether you tend to survive on record shops.
Yeah.
So I think for him, because he's like a Spotify artist, it's probably a great time to release a record. But then for someone, like an indie band that lives on Six Music, who would make most of their revenue by selling a £20 piece of vinyl in a record shop and doing in stores, and that's all being quite a big part of the campaign. This is a disaster. I mean, I saw yesterday the Mystery Jets are still releasing their new album next week, but the physical's only coming out in June.
Oh, really?
Yeah. By which point everyone's expected, like, come down to the in-store. It's like, well, I'm kind of over that album now.
Yeah.
That was 3 months ago.
Unless it gives them like a second wind on it. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because I noticed Stormzy, but then again, he's a different kind of artist, I suppose, because he probably is more like a Spotify artist.
Yeah.
But like his physicals didn't come out until like a month or two after the record was like released on Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of stuff, which was interesting.
That was just before Christmas, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't
It
there...
was like a month after he...
It's crazy, isn't it, that he can still get a number one album without physicals, because a physical sale is 150 streams.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, so that's why artists like Liam Gallagher or Coldplay or Keane, that's why they do so well in the charts, because a lot of their audience is 40, 50-year-old people who still go to record shops and buy the physical.
Right.
So you can climb quite quickly. I mean, Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott from the Beautiful South. Are they from the Beautiful South? I don't know. Anyway, they recently had a number one. You can probably get a number one with sort of 7,000 to 10,000 sales.
Right.
Anyway, it's all a bit boring, but it's quite interesting.
It's boring but interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the Donald Glover album's good. It's interesting. It's interesting how it's completely like an online album, really, because I haven't even seen any. I mean, maybe it's just because it's not a great time. There's no like evidence of there being like a vinyl or anything like that available.
Yeah.
But he's like most of the track names. He's like removed the names and just put the time codes.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like encourage people to just listen to it all the way through.
Yeah.
Which is quite interesting.
I think people have been trying to do that for a while, haven't they? I remember Jamie T in 2006 said that he wanted to just have the whole album on the CD as one track, but the label freaked out.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's really, it's weird. I guess Donald Glover's audience is just so enormous.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, he's clearly like a hyper intelligent guy who does all these incredible projects. But it was so weird that like after This Is America, he literally went to like headlining Coachella.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I mean,
Yeah.
I know that is like maybe like the track of the decade, especially in terms of like the video and everything as well. But it was so weird. And then like the songs that came out after This Is America were just so rubbish. And it was almost like he was just telling everyone to like go away again. Do you know what I mean?
It feels like, but also as well, it felt like he was kind of, I mean, everyone knew who he was, obviously, but I don't remember him. I think, obviously, like, Awaken
Atlanta.
My Love and, like, Redbone and stuff, that
Yeah.
Redbone was a big track, wasn't it? But, like, in terms of him being a music guy, it felt like he was still sort of not that mainstream. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that song
terms of,
definitely
like-
catapulted it into the next thing, didn't it?
Because then we saw him at the O2 and like we got like tickets right at the top at the back because it sold out in like 2 minutes.
I need to dig in. There was also a new Father John Misty live album that came out yesterday.
Oh, really?
Raising money for like a COVID-19 musician emergency fund. That looked amazing. It's a live recording from a gig in Hamburg with a Philharmonic Orchestra on the last tour, and it sounds incredible. I'm gonna go for a run later. My one bit of exercise that I'm allowed to do.
Bit of exercise, yeah.
With the policeman running next to me. Where are you going then? Just down to the bowling green and back. Oh, okay, not a problem.
I haven't really got into Father John Misty. I need to sort of, for no reason other than I just haven't really listened to him. I sort of need to delve in, I think.
Yeah, people seem to really love or hate him. But we fell in love with his first album, must have been about 2012. It's called Fear Fun. And that's great. And a lot of them, most of them are done with a guy called Jonathan Wilson, who's a fantastic producer. The sound of them is just glorious.
So other than your videos that you're doing, your morning coffee videos, what else have you been up to? And
I've been trying to write. I've written for the last 2 days. I've downloaded a little app on my phone called 4Track, which I had about 8 years ago. It literally just emulates a 4-track Tascam tape recorder. It just uses the mic on your phone. Doesn't sort of add any tapey effects or anything. But you can just you can lay out 4 bits of audio. You can pan them left and right. Obviously turn them up and down. And then if you want more tracks, you've got to bounce those 4 down to 2. And then you've got 2 more spare tracks. And it's just really fun. You get this really lovely sort of lo-fi Elliott Smithy thing. You can stack up vocals and then you just press mix and it sends a WAV file into your Dropbox. And I'm trying to sort of do it a little bit every day, just as like a sort of a diary. And then what else have I been doing? Just trying to get set up for online teaching. A lot of the schools I teach at 4 schools, and 3 of them are secondary schools, and one of them's a junior, and the secondary are basically planning for there not to be a summer term.
right,
Which
I suppose that makes sense.
Which as a teacher is terrifying, because it's not just 3 months of missed work. It's you're then not working until September because of the summer holidays. So, so I've been trying to work out how to, how to get the sound right, and I'm just not very good at it, but like trying to work out how I can draw on music so the student can see. Right. So like a split screen share thing with an iPad, and so anyway, that kind of boring thing. But I mean, it's weird. Like the last couple of days, I've just felt like just really down.
Right.
And I don't know. It's to do with this whole situation, really. But like, yeah, it's difficult. I feel like up till now we've just sort of absentmindedly sort of got through the days, but it's just crap. Like there's just like, it's like we've got nothing to look forward to. Do you know what I mean? There's no disposable income. There's no freedom. There's no, there's no summer holiday. There's no, really
nothing on in the summer.
Nothing. There's nothing. Everything's fucking finished.
No sport, no music.
No football. Just show me some football. I mean, yesterday I watched a documentary on Euro 96. I was so desperate to watch some football.
Oh, I nearly watched that. Was it on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on ITV. It's like...
yeah, I nearly watched it.
The summer football came home.
Yeah.
It's actually really good. You won't regret it.
I nearly watched it.
Watch it, definitely. Yeah, it's just like, well, I'm kind of bored of telly, bored of YouTube. The YouTube algorithm is really bad. It never shows you new interesting stuff. It just shows you the same channels again and again. Yeah. The writing's made me feel a bit better. I just need to force myself to actually do something productive, like read. I never read. I just need to get my headspace sorted, because the weather's been amazing. And as soon as the weather goes down the pan, then I'm buggered. I'm going to start drinking at breakfast, I think.
I just thought I was in a similar place over the weekend, and I haven't even been self-isolating for weeks like you have.
You're not even in isolation. You've literally got no excuses.
We all are now, Tom. It's not like
12 hours, 12 days.
But it feels like even though I haven't been sort of isolating to the extent you have, it's sort of.
You mean at all? Isolation bragging.
I have, really. I haven't been anywhere. You can't see anyone because that's not allowed. Nothing's open anyway, so where are you going to go? So even if you're not necessarily sort of isolating because you've got symptoms of some sort, it still feels like you're So I went through that sort of thing at the weekend of going, it's all pointless. I didn't do anything. I just sat on the sofa not doing anything. And then yesterday I woke up with a sort of, I need to be productive. I need to do something.
Yeah, you see, that's the bit that starts waning. Because normally I wake up every morning with a real sense of purpose and excitement. I love getting up really early. Like if I, normally during a work week, I'm up at 5:45, and I really love having an hour, with a coffee at the table, just getting stuff done, firing off emails, preparing lessons, chasing people, like whatever's. But it's weird because it's not for lack of trying. I don't feel like my thinking mind still wants to be making a big effort and isn't worn down at all. I just feel my body giving up. I don't know what's happening, but I just, like, Sarah and I both today just like so down, just like barely talking. I just don't know what's going on. We've been broken.
I think the difficult thing for me is to like, I don't know if it feels the same to you, but like it feels like there's no end.
No end in sight.
Because
like we know that Boris Johnson is a liar.
Exactly.
So when he says 3 months, that's his like that's his totally unrealistic estimate.
Yeah.
That means that it's probably 9 months.
Yeah.
This man doesn't even know how many children he's got. Like, we're fucked. Like, we're not coming out of this side of Christmas.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
Thanks,
it's just really difficult, like, because not even like just financially, but like I've been basically trying to save I've been literally trying to save half my income since September to put towards this album project, and the whole album is like this dystopian kind of thing, all about the government, and it's kind of this nightmarish mood.
Right.
Like, that's not relevant anymore. No one's even bothered about immigration anymore, refugees, Brexit, mainstream media, deep state, everything that we were stressing out about like 3 months ago when I've been writing this album. I kept thinking like, yes, this is the perfect time for this album. Like, literally overnight, it's like no one is asked about that stuff anymore. And it's like, so that's really difficult. Like, I've been trying to work out whether or not to spring the cash for this last part of the process to get it mixed.
Right.
Because what's the point of mixing it? Do you know what I mean? It's like 18 months of work, and then like, oh, am I even going to bother finishing it? It's just, yeah, it's really weird.
You got to finish it, haven't you?
Well, yeah, but then, management and radio are saying, well, actually everyone's release schedule is being pushed back, so when's it ever going to be a good time for a small independent artist to try and get on a playlist at BBC when all these big artists are basically waiting so that they can put stuff in a record shop? Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, the new album, do you remember Brexit by Tom Williams coming out 2022?
Do you think, I know you said like most sort of independent artists would make most of their money through physical sales and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think you putting out an album, say you could put it out tomorrow, say it was all done and you could put it out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you think that would be pointless, or do you think actually it might do quite well with, because if the radios, if a lot of mainstream artists are like not releasing stuff now, surely that might be a good time for you to like get on radio and stuff. Or is that me just being totally naive?
No, I don't know. It'd be interesting. I mean, are they doing playlist meetings at radio? Are they doing it remotely? it's difficult. I feel like it's crass at the moment to try and sell anything to people.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, people haven't got 40 quid in their pockets for like a deluxe bundle. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's quite nice about these morning coffee videos that I've been doing, is there's just like no agenda. But I don't know. I feel like you're always going to have people's attention for about 5 minutes. And the thing about a traditional campaign where you kind of build and songs go to radio and then videos come out and then the acoustic version comes out and then there's a podcast and then there's a gig, and you know what I mean, where it's kind of a drip. You're just slowly reintegrating yourself into everyone's algorithm. You're sort of waking up that fan base so that suddenly your 5,000 fans on Facebook or whatever, most of them are actually now seeing your posts. You know, there are also, yeah, it's weird. I feel like musical audiences go dormant very, very quickly. And also, whenever I'm at a show signing a record, I always say to people after a show, you know, follow us on Facebook and keep in touch for when we next come back to this city. And over half of them don't follow me on socials. So I've got this weird audience where they hear me on the radio, they go to Ticketmaster, they buy the ticket, they come to the gig, they go home, they go, oh, that was good. But like, I've got no way of contacting those people. So for me, I feel like whenever I do anything online, I'm only communicating with about sort of 40% of my audience. Which maybe is the case for a lot of people. But I would have thought that actually as an indie artist on Six Music, the audience would be like super attentive. Do you know what I mean? Most of the people that I meet that have heard us on Six, like they buy the vinyl, they want it signed, they've got the poster, they've got the t-shirt, they've been to every gig in Leeds that we've done. You know, yeah, it's really weird. I feel like I would regret not promoting it properly and going through all the normal channels.
Yeah.
Because you just want it to reach as big an audience as possible.
Yeah.
It's difficult though, isn't it? I mean, I don't know whether you've noticed. We commented about it in a video, on Saturday. There seems to be two sort of strains of thinking in terms of like content being generated during this crisis. One is everyone saying, you know, to creative people, this is the time to follow that mad idea. This is the time to write that album, write that play. Did you realise that when Shakespeare was in isolation for the plague, he wrote King Lear? Like, this is your time. You're always moaning that you don't have time. Now's the time. And then the other half of people are going, please, can everybody stop live streaming and making fucking podcasts? We're not interested, okay? Just everyone fuck off. And it's and it's really difficult to everyone's just like slagging off everybody else's response to their boredom. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I've been enjoying like you've been doing videos, and like Ricky Gervais has been doing a live stream every day. Yeah. And that's been quite semi-interesting. But I've been quite enjoying the people I follow putting out stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it is quite a nice little break. I don't know.
Have you seen Laura Marling's been doing guitar lessons?
Oh, really? That's quite nice.
Which is really, really good, because she's like almost hasn't interacted with social media at all. It's always like, Team Laura Marling would like you to know that she'll be in Australia this November.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's an amazing song. I need to get on it actually before it disappears, because Instagram live stories only are there for a day, but there's an amazing song called Noel on her last record that I'm desperate to learn. But Yeah, she's such a good guitar player. I actually feel like I see all these live. You go on Instagram now and like there are 12 people live streaming at the same time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, how do I even like wade through all these people?
The thing I'm enjoying is like everyone. When I think about social media, for the most part, I think of it like sort of in a negative way. Sort of don't really like it. Maybe because I'm just not very good at it, but I've never been good at like doing keeping my own Twitter and Instagram up and all that kind of stuff. But but when this has happened and lots of people are live streaming or doing little videos, or that's when you go, oh, that social media is actually that's to me that's what sort of social media should be like all the time. It's people doing nice little things and it's kind of like your one is kind of, there's something kind of relaxing about it because it's just sort of you just waffling into a camera and it's just like, oh, that's a nice little break from seeing the news that's just awful all the time.
It's absolutely relentless. And I think that's what's kind of wearing us down. It's that, and then just staring at your phone. I got a screen report this morning saying that my screen time is up 75% and that I'm averaging 7 hours a day.
Jesus.
I mean, what am I doing for 7 hours a day? But you just check it all the time.
Yeah.
And it's so bad for your brain, I swear.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, well, everyone's talked about it for ages, haven't they? That sort of little endorphin hit of like a like or a comment. And actually, to be fair, that is the nicest thing about these videos. It's been the comments.
Yeah.
Because people are just, for me, I'm just sitting in my window and playing a John Denver song. But for some reason, I actually feel more connected to my audience than I ever have before. I mean, people are going through some real stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, whether it's people separated from their children because the parents live in two different houses.
That struck me in your one this morning, actually.
Yeah, whether it's people looking after elderly parents, people still working in the NHS, so it's still at work, the children are still at school. You know, people just struggling with loneliness, and people just, I think, want to talk. And I think because the pace of my videos is quite slow. I honestly haven't even thought about it, which I think has been quite refreshing. I've also just always been a bit fascinated, like what would happen if I just did something like every day, just like overfed the algorithm. And it's been quite interesting to see like the numbers on the videos and stuff. I mean, then they're certainly not like skyrocketing through the roof, but people, you know, the fact that it can become part of someone's routine, and actually, to be honest, they become part of my routine. Like it's literally just it's good for me to like get up, stop moping, like brush my teeth, iron a shirt, like try not to look grumpy. Morning, everybody. Do you know what I mean? Get up, like have a bit of a sing before I start, because singing in the morning is really hard.
Yeah.
And to be honest, like it's keeping me going, to be honest. I don't know how I'm going to do another 3 weeks of it. Even going outside really doesn't feel like a relief. I need to pinpoint what it is that's getting me down. But I think it's probably, I just so love being busy, and that feeling that there isn't that next carrot on the stick, that next thing to aim for. You know, in my head, I would have loved this new album to come out at the beginning of next year with a new song maybe in November.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I was really looking forward to the next 6 months of mixing, mastering, get the album cover sorted, make a couple of videos, and all of that's just like fallen away. Yeah, I don't know what to do with myself. Anyway, getting that off my chest.
It's funny though as well, because you think you watch. I think it's also like easy to forget you sort of get wrapped up in your own. I think, well, everyone does it all the time anyway, but especially at the moment when you're sat at home, you sort of get wrapped up in your own head. And like you said, I think what's nice about your videos is that everyone seems to be commenting and sort of sharing their stories and talking to each other. But then I think I'm probably guilty of watching your videos and you look like, I'm like, oh, Tom's dealing with it really well. He's in a great mood, and yeah, you know, he's not teaching at the moment, but he's sorting out his online. He's doing really well. He's a really positive chap.
Yeah, maybe. Although it's funny, if you look back through, it'll be funny to look through a month of these, see the hair getting longer in every thumbnail, see the sort of pasty skin complexion get sort of more translucent and vampiric. I think also, I've got these two parts of my life. I've got the teaching, which is like an outward-facing job. You are, you know, dealing with people and children and teenagers, and it's so social. You see like 50 people a day, which is loads. Over 200 pupils a week. And then the music is the opposite. It's super inward, self-indulgent, trying to be creative and sort of, you know, make a little project for yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah, when the teaching disappears and all you've got left is the is the sort of the first person point of view, it's just like maddening. It's just like so boring. I think that's what's so lovely about the comments is I just want to talk to people. It's kind of actually, it's a part of my life that I miss so much. And Skype calling and stuff doesn't really do it for some reason. So yeah, I need to work out what my routine is. And we need to work out something that we can do that sort of, you know, makes it feel a bit more fun. I don't know.
I suppose you're someone who probably, because I being self-employed and freelance, I don't really have a routine every day, because it could be different every week sort of thing, because, you know, I could be on a shoot one week and not the next week and stuff. And I've never been particularly good at, I've only been like freelance for like the last year or so.
Yep.
And I'm still sort of struggling with trying to put some routine into my life. But I suppose for you, it's a bit different, because I suppose you do have more of a routine, don't you, I suppose?
Yeah. Well, I generally, because I tend to work like stink for like 33 weeks of the year, and then for the school holidays, I go off on tour or finish an album or do something. So I'm always doing something. But I just feel like, because I think the maddening feeling is that life's just been put on pause, and that there's not necessarily anything to look forward to. And then even if you do make something and you want it to come out, you're going to have to join the queue, you know, when you come out, because everyone's been fucking making something. What are you going to do? Are there any film projects or anything that needs editing that you haven't sorted out for ages, or?
Oh, well, I mean, in terms of film projects, in terms of like work that I'll get paid for, like everything that I had lined up has been put on hold, and I don't know when that's going to happen. And sort of projects that we were in the middle of like planning, and they've just sort of just stopped. In terms of like personal projects, I'm trying to. I thought this would be a good time to try and record a bunch of podcasts, because, you know, I've got a new podcast coming out on Friday, a different
what's
podcast.
That? Tell me about it.
It's called Getting Pretentious.
Yeah.
And it's me and my friend George, who is the bassist in my girlfriend's band. Mm-hmm. So I wanted something that, because the Last Line stuff is, I still want to do it, but it's sort of dependent, because it's an interview thing, it's sort of dependent on when I can get people to do it.
Yeah.
So I can't put it out as regularly as I'd want to.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it's literally just me and George talking about a different album each week. So we can put it out weekly.
Yeah.
So we're putting out the first 2 on Friday.
What are you going to talk about? What albums?
So we're trying to do a real mix of stuff, but we're going poppy for the first 2 to, I don't know, hopefully lure people in. Because we want it to be for people that want it to be for people who consider themselves music geeks already. But also we want to try and get people who might not necessarily usually listen to a podcast about music, but because we're talking about Taylor Swift or whatever, they might listen, and then we're sort of breaking it down and that kind of thing, get them to sort of think about it a bit more.
Yeah. So which albums are you doing?
So the first 2 we've done that are on Friday is the 1975 Brief Inquiry.
Such a good album.
Well, see, this is the thing. I was always very dismissive of them. And
So
George
was I.
was always telling me.
So was
listen to
I,
them.
but this album is I absolutely adore 80% of it.
Yeah.
And some of it is easily the best stuff of that year, and has actually inspired so much of my new album, because it's in terms of sounds and production, it's just encyclopedic. It's just incredible production wise. Yeah, cool. Well, I'll be listening to that one. That sounds good.
And then we're doing 1989 by Taylor Swift for the second episode.
Are you only doing date-based albums?
Yes. Just a coincidence for the first 2.
Yeah.
Then we've also recorded. We did White Lies to Lose My Life because it was the 10-year anniversary.
Classic.
We did Because the Internet, the Childish Gambino record. We did Swans, To Be Kind. Have you heard that record?
Don't know that album though.
It's kind of very heavy. It's a 2.5-hour album.
Sounds awful.
It's dense. And I'm not sure where I came down on it, to be honest. George thinks it's brilliant, and I'm kind of I don't know if it's self-indulgent because it's 2.5 hours long.
It sounds self-indulgent, to be honest.
It is a little bit. What else have we done? We've done the Kiwanuka record, the new Michael Kiwanuka record.
I'm not convinced about that one.
Really?
I don't think it's as good as Love or Hate, but people have lost their minds about it.
I really like it.
I must say, one of the best album covers of the year, with
cool.
the oil portrait of yourself as a king.
Yeah.
Unbelievably amazing.
It is cool. But I think I hadn't listened to Love or Hate before Kiwanuka, so maybe that's sort of influenced why I like that more, because it's sort of what got me into him.
Yeah.
A range of different stuff. We're trying to do something different each week.
Sounds good.
So so we've been doing that, but we were doing that before all this, and then it's just, we finally getting around to releasing it. So. But we do go off on tangents, so it's not all necessarily just about the Taylor Swift one ends up becoming more of a chat about why do people sort of seem to hate her so much, and we couldn't really figure out necessarily why. We have done a chat about the new documentary. I don't know if you saw that on that.
No, I haven't. Is it good?
It's actually much better than I thought it would be.
Right.
Because I thought it was going to be a bit sort of sanitized. I thought it would just be her making a new record and a bit about her. And
what is it about? Is it about the tour?
So it's about, it sort of cuts between her making the new record and just it sort of tells her life story. But it's quite good because it's much more honest than you think it would be, and about actually all the sort of struggles she's had, which for some people obviously turn them off because they go, she's a pop star, she doesn't have any problems. But I think it's really good. I think it's I think it's really well done. I think it's much more honest than I thought it would be. Yeah. There's a scene.
Okay, I'll check it out.
You end up feeling quite sorry for her in the end, to be honest.
Yeah.
There's a scene that stood out to me where there's a bit where she walks out of a building and there's like loads of fans either side, and she walks straight past them and gets into a car, and your immediate thought is, oh, why didn't she stop to talk to her fans? And then she turns to the camera and goes, yeah, so that's basically my front yard. That's like the front of my apartment building.
Oh my God.
And you're like, oh, right, that's why she doesn't stop, because it's like every day that's what it's like, and she can't even leave without planning.
Jesus.
So yeah, it's just quite interesting, I think. I think if you don't like her sort of as a person, it might soften you towards her a little bit.
Yeah, well, we don't really know her as a person.
Yeah.
People just, it's weird. I mean, actually, going back to Euro 96, that's something that Gascoigne talked quite a lot about in that. But he said that in America, if you're famous there in America, you're famous for life. And in the UK, if you get famous, they make you famous and then they just tear you down.
Yeah.
It's, making the conversation into a very purposeful full circle there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going from Taylor Swift to Paul Gascoigne.
Yeah.
Because really, have you ever seen them in the room at the same time?
No. Are they the same person?
Can you imagine Gaza singing Blank Space?
The new album from Paul Gascoigne.
All right, well, look, I hope there's something in here. This is like slightly more depressing waffle than my kind of waffle.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be a more positive waffle, but that's fine. I think it's...
No, I think I'm losing the plot, but I have said that in the video this morning.
Yeah.
I think everybody is. So I just need to pull my head out my arse and make an effort to sort of... because I'm only on episode 7. I'm going to do 5 a week, but I was just looking back at the thumbnails. I look back enviously at the thumbnail of like day 1. I was like, that guy didn't have anything to worry about. He was fine. He was just taking a week off work because he had a cold, and he was just like winging it. And now.
But it feels like everything changes so quickly now. Like a week ago, were we all as...
Not in London. No, we weren't in London. We were all still like licking each other's faces in Richmond Park. But we've been in isolation for nearly 2 weeks now, and now they've only just started like the compulsory isolation. We're gonna have to do a bloody 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's like anyway, I'm gonna have to sort myself out. I'm gonna have to snap out of it.
That's where you.
This has just got me.
That's where you've gone wrong, Tom.
Is
that you've decided to get ill before the isolation kicks in. That's
timed it so badly. To be honest, part of me wishes I could just bloody get this disease and then I'd most likely be immune and then I can just go back to work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I might go out and just I might go down to Tesco now and just lick some handrails and some shopping trolley handles.
I'm just looking at your thumbnails now, actually. You do.
Look how happy and sunny the first one was.
So happy in the first one, even the second one.
I know.
And then the smile becomes more and more sort of like
strained.
Forced. Like episode 7 does look quite. Today's does look a bit. Yeah. Now you mention it.
Does it not? Oh no! Hang on. Let me just.
It looks fine. Like if you don't know, it looks fine. But now you've said that.
I don't want to turn my phone on just in case it mucks up the or recording. But yeah, I have acknowledged that my disintegration, my mental disintegration, is for all to see online. If you want to go and see the thumbnails of my Instagram TV. You've helped me through a difficult time.
That's good.
And I actually feel now that I feel ready for more positive waffle
Good.
tomorrow.
I'm glad.
I now need to go and drag Sarah out of her depression. I'll just tell her to give you a call.
Yeah. I think the thing is though. It's like, I think we're all some more than others. Granted, because I'm in London and us Londoners haven't cared as enough. Irresponsible Londoners. But I think stuff like this is good because it's like, you know, we're like reaching out to each other and all that shit that people talk about.
Have you heard the new version of Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond, where it's no longer hands touching you, it's now hands don't touch hands, washing hands. It's very good.
I saw quite a good tweet today. If you wanna, said for a real music festival experience at home, put on live streams with your 3 favourite artists in different rooms, then force yourself to pick which one you want to watch and get really mad because some idiot made them all play at the same time. That's
good. My favourite tweet of the last week has been, this is good for Londoners actually.
Oh yeah, go on.
Maybe you should do this, James. Having trouble forcing yourself to stay home? Shave your eyebrows off.
So there you have it, Tom Williams. Tom gets the prize for being the first ever repeat guest on the Last Line podcast. So Richard Porter had 2 episodes dedicated to his conversation, but you know, we split one conversation into 2 episodes. So Tom is the first repeat guest. So congrats to him. Maybe I should start giving out Last Line badges to the people that have been on the podcast. I'm sure they don't. It's not a big deal. It's not as big a deal for them as it is for me. But my thanks to Tom, as always, for coming on the show, and my thanks to you, the listener, for joining me. If you're listening to this when this first goes out, which I was going to say, which is now, that doesn't mean anything. If you're listening to this when this first goes out, then on Friday, as I mentioned to Tom, I am launching a new podcast called Getting Pretentious, and it would be amazing if all of you Last Line listeners would also go and support that. It's a weekly music podcast, so it will come sort of less sporadically than this does. So if you want to hear my nasally voice more often, then go and check out Getting Pretentious. You will notice when it gets to this Friday that I haven't decided if the first 2 episodes come out on Friday. The first episode will definitely appear in your feed for the Last Line. If you don't want to listen to it, then that's fine, ignore it. But if you do want to listen to it and you like it, then please go and support the show on its own feed. That we may put the first 2 episodes on the Last Line feed as well. I'm not sure. But the first episode will definitely be on the Last Line feed. So please do check it out. And if you like it, go and subscribe to Getting Pretentious. That's all for now. I don't know when the next Last Line podcast will be. I'm sort of hoping to record a fair few over the internet while we're all self-isolated. but I'll probably just release them as and when. I'm not going to. Usually, I record a bunch and bulk them all together. I'm probably just going to release them as and when, to be honest. So do keep your eyes peeled, your ears peeled, everything peeled to hear what goodies are in store. You would really think after 21 episodes I'd be better at this. But no, apparently not. I still ramble on for way too long. But thank you again for joining me. Thank you to Tom. Do go and check out Morning Coffee on Tom's social media channels. And I will see you next time. For now, I'm James Albarn, and this is The Last Line.